What it do? Yo man, listen. Today, I want to talk about legendary event characters. Let's get right into it. I'm a little sick, so bear with me, okay? First things first, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying this as a fact. This is just the way I feel. If you disagree with me, that is perfectly reasonable. I completely understand. The reason I say this before the video is because what I'm about to say is very much a put the fries in the bag Draupnir take. Okay, you've been warned. Little code here, yeah. Anyways, so I'm making this video as when I was recording the Nicodemus video, the latest character coming to Tacticus for the Blood Angels faction. He's a healer. I realized something. In that video, I talked about how Nico was an excellent legendary release event character. Then I got thinking, right? What are legendary event characters? For also, just quick thing, it's called legendary events, but I like to call them legendary release events. I don't know why. It's like Uno, you can't put +4 on top of +4. It's like, that's not how it works. We know how it works. So essentially, legendary release event characters are characters that are super good in legendary release events. Characters that survive or help survive and meet certain requirements for any given legendary release event. On your screen, I put a bunch of them. Rothbowen, he has 4 power hits. He is extremely durable. He's a healer. Then there's Malletus. Malletus is power, 3 hits, extremely durable. Angrax, he is power. He doesn't really meet like too many requirements. However, the fact that he can sit next to spawn points and whack things as they come along, it's extremely powerful. Alefnul is a mechanical healer. Summons get destroyed, but he's a healer. He's pretty tough. That's pretty good. Shosil, summons every single turn. Really good. Bellator, extremely tanky. At max level, he can solo most tracks by just summoning things. Isabella, one of the best characters in the game when it comes to legendary release events. Tangita summoning multiple things. And the Tyrant Guard being able to reduce the incoming damage by a significant amount. Minus the hit, of course, as well. Now, these are all characters that are good for legendary release events. I would go as far as to say these are all legendary release event characters. However, this isn't an exhaustive list. There are a lot of good legendary release event characters that are not on that list. And that's the point. I think, personally, that legendary release event characters is an obsolete concept. Okay, I understand, put the fries in the bag Draupnir. What are you saying? What kind of a take is this? No. Here's my thought process. Healers and summoners, they will always be good for legendary release events. Because at their core, legendary release events are just you being able to survive the oncoming enemy waves for a significant amount of time. Characters that facilitate this will be more useful than characters who don't facilitate it. Rothbone and Tangida and Isabella and Shosil, I think these are like the best legendary release event characters. In the case of Rothbone, he's extremely tanky. He's good at killing things because of the contagions. You take him with Malletus. He heals Malletus. If something like slips and a character dies, he can res them as long as they're chaos. Isabella, just like being able to heal things, it's very strong as long as you can keep her alive. Tangida, just constantly summoning durable Skitari is good. Shosil, 5,000 pierce damage, and then on the following turns, it becomes 2,500 pierce damage. Like, these are all excellent characters. I am not denying their usefulness. What I'm saying is, I want to show you my roster. Okay, this is my roster, and I get it. I'm a content creator. I have a really crazy roster. Like, I get that. Okay? But that's not the point. Like, that's why I'm saying this is my opinion. This is my feeling, and I'm not imposing this on you guys. If you look at my roster, you'll see that I have I have 11 characters at Diamond 3. And if you look at those characters, 10 of the 11 are raid characters. I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the, Neurotrope team. I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Ragnar Blackmane comp. Karn is getting there. I'll get him there eventually. And I have Rothbone at Diamond 3. So if you look at my roster, realistically, Rothbone is the only legendary release event character that I have. Now, I did say, oh, Bellator is a legendary release event character. That is more in the sense that Bellator is good everywhere, so he just happens to be good in legendary release events because he's good everywhere. The reason I'm showing my roster is twofold. Because I want to show you Karn the Betrayer. It was a second event, and I got the Winged Stars. And Vitruvius, I don't know if it was a third event, but I got the Legendary Star. Now, the other two, the Mephiston and Patermine, I got them, but I didn't push the event. I had some real-life stuff come up. I couldn't do it, plus I wasn't very motivated to invest in the characters because they aren't good. But what I'm getting at is, I have a roster that doesn't have all the cool, good, crazy legendary release event characters. I just have one. And I can get to maxing out events. So what I'm saying is, at some point, your roster develops enough so where you can bash your head against the wall and max out legendary release events. Or rather, max out characters, because of course you can get more boxes after you get the characters, gives you badges, whatever. What I'm getting at is, the reason I'm saying this, I think after a certain point, and that certain point is, I think, in my opinion, is before you get to my level. Like, you get to my level of developed roster. I think at a certain point, and legendary release event character just doesn't mean anything. I think at a certain point, you shouldn't build more legendary release event characters. Because, okay, think of it this way. I have Rothbone at Diamond 3. Say I have Shosil at Diamond 3. And say I have, I don't know, Malice at Diamond 3. And I have everything else. I mean, at that point, I don't think I should invest in legendary release event characters. I think to do that, investing in legendary release event characters is something you do if your roster isn't developed enough because you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, right? Like, that's how Nandi does his videos for his legendary release events. He shows like a cool graph where he's like, hey, this character gives this much, this character gives this much, so you know what character is going to give you the most amount of event points, so you can, maximize what you're gonna get. However, if your roster is developed enough, that kind of just doesn't mean anything because you can face roll through most things. And I understand I am very much endgame. Like, I'm top 1%, let's not say top 1%, there are people with insane rosters, but like I'm up there. Like this roster is something you'll see that's more than like your average player, okay? I'm very top heavy, as you can see, like it just dives down to like lower ranks. I don't want this to be about my roster. I'm just saying, I think that after a certain point, legendary release, the quote-unquote legendary release event characters, they don't mean anything if your roster is developed enough. I think you should focus on them if you're like in the midpoint where, you're developing your roster, but like you're not there exactly. However, if you're a new player, and this is important, if you're a new player, I genuinely believe your priority should be to focus campaigns. So if you see this list, I do think, Bellator, despite the fact that he's not better than all of these characters, he should be your focus because you want to beat the Indomitus campaign. It's very important to beat the Indomitus campaign. Aleph Null to beat the Indomitus Mirror, and then in the future Indomitus Mirror Elite. Angrax to beat Fall of Cadia. Like, campaign characters are more important. I don't want this video to create an impression in like new players where they're like, oh my god, Draupnir said these are legendary release event characters, I need to focus on. No, you're a new player. Your main goal, your primary goal, should be to beat the campaigns. Anyways, that kind of, started yapping. Anyways, again, I just want to clarify, this is just my opinion. This is the way I feel. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm not saying this is an issue. If you disagree, more power to you. I fully understand that I am in the minority, and that's fine. I'm not saying I'm right. This is just the way I feel based on feelings, not facts. Anyways, I yapped far too much this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and stay safe. Oh, what is this on the left-hand corner of your screen? A video that is best suited for you. Whoa. Anyways, bye.